Okay, now that we've established, in this case, a feature class called EC Hole 17, we created a point feature class out of the sanitized EC data that was created from the raw data given to me from Bill. We can then start to render and work with this data. So I'm going to minimize catalog because I've got it, I'm sorry, minimize catalog because now I got it loaded in here. And it's sitting here on top of my base map imagery, and I can minimize this, and I can change the actual name here. If I don't like how it's being displayed in here, I can change that representation here in my table of contents, but it doesn't change the underlying data inside of our catalog. So you can still see that the data is still, whoops, not there, but right here, it's still holding that in there. So what I need to do is, or want to do, is show you some ways of rendering this data. And this goes hand in hand with any point feature class, the yield data and things like that. And once you've got this as a feature class inside of the database environment and loaded it as a layer, then you can right click and go to properties and go to symbology, and I can start to pick and choose the different categories to base this on. So let's just go to quantile, and let's do graduated symbol, and let's do elevation. And we'll just use all the default settings here and hit apply. If we move this out of the way, you will start to see now the higher elevation with the lower elevation based on the values here. And you can kind of experiment with displaying information. I can change the color ramp. I can change the classification. I can hit apply, and I can start to represent that data. And I can do it as a single feature. I can do it as a category. I can do it as graduated colors or symbols or proportion. I can do charts, and I can get more detailed on how many ranges that I want. I can change the classification, use different methods for classifying that data, and start playing around with it that way. But just to kind of get a quick sense of what's going on, let's just do 5, yellow to red, and there's my elevation. This is a quick way of representing the point data set. In the next exercise, I will show you how to create my raster representation of the data set, as well as creating topsoil and subsoil rasters as well. So there you go. One last thing here too is that because it's a feature class, I can again click on the identify button and pick on any one of these dots, and it gives me the lat long, the elevation, the subsoil, topsoil values there, and I can render all the data in different aspects based on any value here in the database itself. So I'm not just limited to just elevation for rendering the data, but I could do subsoil, topsoil, and we'll use these values for creating our rasters later on.